Everybody, this is Kelly of Kelly Sex Stories, and in this video I'm showing you again my DNA results, and I'm also showing you the Hodge twins DNA results. Now the difference between me and theirs is that I have more African in me than they do, and they have more European in them than I do. But the thing that we both have in common is that our Native American heritage is very small. And it's like, why is that? Why does it seem like with most of Black people in America that our Native American heritage is very small? I'm starting to think the reason why it is very small in Black people is because we was given that heritage from a long time ago, whereas our European and African heritage is more recent. Check out the clip of the Hodge twins when they talk about their grandfather and how their grandfather looked and how they were shocked about how much Native American ancestry that they. This is the estimate of my African heritage. This is the estimate of my European heritage. On this picture, you will see the estimate of my Native American heritage. This is the estimate of my West Asian heritage. This is the estimate of my Central Asian heritage.
Hey, breaking news. Yeah. We just got our DNA results in.
Yeah. We sent in a sample of some nice wet spit to this place. They took that nice wet spit and they tested our DNA to figure out, to let us know, how much a percentage of each and every ancestor I have inside my body.
Yeah. This is for you hating ass Black people out there.
Yeah. And the only reason why we did this is because after we did this prior video, Hodge Twins, You're Not Black, niggas was still talking shit. So to prove these niggas wrong, we went and got a DNA test to show you that a majority of our DNA is African.
Yeah. I got the results right here on my phone. Just got the damn email.
Yeah.
From the lab. Pull this up, man. Hold up, where'd it go?
Pull it up, man. Break it to them, man.
Break it down, man.
Yeah, man. Let all these hating ass brothers know.
58% of the Hodge twins DNA. That means majority.
Yeah, that's majority.
Cause it's 100%. Anything over 50.
Yeah, anything over 50.1%.
It's majority.
Yeah. This is 58.
We talking 58 in here.
We talking 58. We ain't talking 50 and a half, 50 and 1/10. We talking 58%.
We talking 58.
That's the majority.
That's what we talking.
That's what we talking.
58% of our DNA is from Africa.
Told you.
The motherland.
I told you, Black motherfuckers. Didn't I tell you?
It gives you a breakdown. 24% from the Ivory Coast, Ghana. 12% from Nigeria. 11% from Africa Southeastern, Bantu. Then another 7% from Togo. Then 2% from the Cameroon and Congo. It's a whole lot of
a bunch of crazy brothers down there.
Yeah, right. Now the other 42%, it's 1% from Native American.
That's a goddamn lie.
Yeah,
got more damn Indian.
Well, Grandpa wasn't 100% Indian. He was like, he had some Indian in him.
Yeah,
right. Cause Grandpa was dark skinned, right?
Yeah.
It made you Black people proud, but he was dark, but his hair
was
looked like a damn Asian person's hair.
Yeah, it looked like he put a perm in his shit.
Yeah.
He always wore it slick to the back, man.
Yeah. He was like Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
He had some Frank
He was
Sinatra.
a Black Frank Sinatra, man. It was slick back with grease.
Yeah.
In the following clip called African Americans Ain't African 2015, you will see Carrie Davis discusses the origins of what are known as African Americans in America.
Soldier of the Truth was told to get off of a train, go in the back of the train, or wherever the black people in that day, and she said, I'm not doing it. Same thing. History repeats itself. We just don't know it because we don't question. We don't tell the truth. We always playing and lying and confusing ourselves. Alex Haley. You guys are young. When I was a kid, a TV show came out called Roots. This is how most of us, this is when the term, about 10 years later after Roots, the term African American came out. Roots was a story. This cat wrote this story. Let me tell you about Alex Haley. Are you guys familiar with a guy named Malcolm X? Alex Haley came on the scene. He did an autobiography on a brother named Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a thug brother who turned himself around and became an international figure. Beautiful orator, could speak to anybody. And he started to wake people up on the political implications of what were going on. He was kind of like the arch nemesis of Martin Luther King for a minute. But if you ever see a picture of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King shaking hands, that's when Martin Luther King started to change. And that's what we all got to do. We brothers, man. We should have asked the question, Alex Haley, why? There was a book that came out in the 60s called The Autobiography of Malcolm X. And an autobiography is a story about your life. When Alex Haley started writing that story, Malcolm X was like 35, 36 years old. What man writes a story about his life when he's 35 or 36 and he's not near the end of his life? Alex Haley was Navy intelligence. He was sent in there to break up the Nation of Islam. So, a few years later, he comes out with this story called Roots. Roots is about this man named Kunta Kinte that comes from Africa, and he builds his family and life over here. The only problem with that story is that it was plagiarized. Alex Haley stole that story from a man named Harold Corlander, who was writing about some Africans. He made the story up live, that show still comes on today. Every Christmas they play Roots. Back to back to back to back to back. Why? To disconnect you from your ancestral homeland. See, if you don't know who you are, when the foreigners come over here, you see all these Asians coming over, you see all these Arabs coming over to take all your money out of your community, that's supposed to be what you're doing. We're supposed to be trading with each other. Arabs don't buy from you. Asians don't purchase from you. Why do we take on those casinos that we're talking about? Why are we the ones still up in there giving the people our money? Where's your casinos? Huh? How come we don't have that stuff? How come brothers, you young men, how come brothers don't make cars? How come brothers don't have their own bus lines? The Montgomery boycott should have showed you a whole bunch of stuff. How come we don't take what we learned from there and update it to today and make it better for ourselves? You're about to find out. Roots is a main story in the African American lexicon. Somebody comes tells us stories, we don't question it, we don't debate them, we just believe whatever they say. He was sued for $650,000 and had to publicly apologize in court. But what he did, he sent millions of us on this trip that we from Africa. Africans don't claim you. Africans don't claim you. When you see the story that they told you, when you see how dumb it is, you're gonna trip. Okay? What is an African American? Anybody? What's an African American? What's an African? What does the term African mean? Let's do it different. What does the term black mean? That's been in use longer than African American. What does the term black mean? We're trained much like dogs. You tell a dog to sit. Sit. The dog eventually learns that when you say sit, it means to sit down. If If you tell the dog to come in and have a seat, he'll look at you like you're crazy because he's never heard that before. So we get these words and these terms that we use, we don't know what they mean. That's why when I said, what's African? What does African mean? Nobody knew. That's how we're trained. Here's the term black. And check it out and see if this doesn't apply to us in this system that we live in. This is the etymology of the word black. So when you find the word, you want to find out who made the word up, what people invented that word, why did they invent it, what were they going through in their history when they invented it, what were they going through, and what did that word mean to them? Black. So it's an adjective. What's an adjective? Isn't an adjective something used to describe a thing? What's an adjective? So off the bat, you're not even a human with this word. You're a thing. Property. That's how we're looked at in American society today. That's why foreigners can come over here and set up right in your community. They won't live with you. They'll come in and take all of your economic resources out of it. Why? Why? Are we dumb? We don't know how to set up our own stores. We don't know how to make our own weaves. We don't know how to do feet. Why are poor people coming from Asia? They coming from all over the world to come right here to Tuskegee, Alabama. And they getting paid. You employ them. You can't employ yourself, but you employ foreigners. How do you employ foreigners? Because you go support their businesses. Do you support your own? No. You don't do that. Why is there more Mexican restaurants in the South than black restaurants? These are questions we should be asking. Our elders don't want to talk about it. When you bring it up to them, they will tell you to get out their face. Trust me. How come we don't have a chain of restaurants around here like Cracker Barrel? So when our children get out of school or they're in high school, they can have something to do. These are the questions not only you're going to have to ask, but your kids going to have to ask. Because we cannot stay in the state that we're living now. You won't have grandkids. The way we're going now, the word out is genocide. To kill you out. That's why these brothers out here getting shot and killed your ages, you really don't have a problem. We don't really have a problem with it. That's why it keeps going on and on and on. Why are our children doing the things that they do now? Why are you the target? So the definition of black is pale. The definition of black and bleach is the same word. All it does means to black you out. So the term black came in when the Europeans came over and they saw the people here. And look at the word that they were using. Go read them books and stuff from the 16 and 17 and 1800s. They're talking about you. Black means just redact. Black them out. So then they blacked you out. And then they came up with names like Cherokee, Choctaw. These aren't the names that you were calling yourselves. These are the names that they start to name you so they can put you in a box so they can control you. You see at the fifth line up, black, bleak, and bleach are all radically one word. The primary sense seems to be pale, wan, or sour. It doesn't mean what we think it means. We think black power. Black power means bleached out power. It doesn't mean what we think it means. It's just a control mechanism used to control us. That's why the Black Panther Party was a failure from the beginning. It was CIA set up from the jump. But we jumped behind it, and young men your age were wiped out. Still in jail today. And those people that led it, the Angela Davises, all of them have got professorships and book sales. One brother's even in the Congress in the United States, the brother from Chicago. It was the Black Panther Party was used to get in our communities and infiltrate them. And they did a wonderful job because we believed, we didn't know, we just believed certain things. So the term black, all the term black is used for is to erase you out, to make you think that you don't count. And when other people use it, it does that. But when we use it upon ourselves, because when I was in school, if you were called black, there was a fight. If somebody said your mama's black, there was a fight. black was the term. Then, after Roots came out, the term African became important. We started using this term African American. We'll get into that in a minute. What I want to do, I want to use an analogy. As we go through this, I want to use an analogy of a cheating spouse. You at home, your spouse come home smelling of perfume or cologne, lipstick on his collar or her collar, however it rolls. What's the first thing that the spouse who's been at home does? What's the first thing they do? They begin to ask the other spouse questions. When the other spouse can't answer questions, that's when the spouse who's been cheated on knows that you're lying. And one of the things that we don't do, but we're going to do this today, I'm just going to ask you some simple questions. One of the things that we don't do, we don't question anything. Whatever they tell us, that's what we go with. And that's how we stay in the trouble we're in, because we don't never do what's best for us. We always do what's best for other people. That's what an African American does. The African American never looks out for herself. The African American will look out for people from Thailand before they look out for themselves. And that's why there's no money circulating in our community, because all our money goes to other people, other foreigners. I'm going to show you some images. These are some images that I want you to see. These are images back in the day when these, when you go to read the newspapers back in the 17 and 1800s, these are the images that they were putting out back then. Now remember, they didn't have TV back then, so they did a lot of drawing. Tell me who these people are. This picture right here is very important. Pull this up sometime. This picture is called The Reconciliation Between Britannia and Her Daughter America. If you look at the picture, you'll see these are different European countries you see they're trying to pull at America. Different French, Dutch, Portuguese, French people over there. They're trying to pull at this woman who is America. Who is that? Who does that woman look like? She don't look like she can be your mama, your aunt, your grandma. Is she an African? Why is it saying the reconciliation between Britannia, that's the Queen of England, and that's America right there? What are those feathers in her hair? What do they symbolize? You're going to see a lot of feathers. And you're going to see a lot of people who look like you with feathers. Who is that? And with all this education we got, how come this isn't taught to our daughters? Look at this woman. Just look at the image. When you look at the image, look this image up and read everything that you see here. Who is that? Look at her hips. Look at her hair. Who is that? That's the symbolization of America. Your mamas, your grandmamas. That's where you come from. That woman isn't an African. The reconciliation between Britannia and her daughter America. Why are white people so hell-bent on taking the red-skinned head off the helmet, and you don't hear nothing from you? This brother right here look just like you.
Handsome.
That's a red. Your skin is not red. Here's another, but this shirt is black. Have you ever seen somebody this color? Never. How come you don't hear our mouths on that? How come white folks, the white Indians, we're going to get into them in a minute too, why are they saying, take the red-skinned head down? That's offensive. This is one of the most recognizable images in the world. When you start to go out of the country, and please do that, they're going to tell you, you're Indians from America. When you go to Europe, they know who you are. It's because you don't know who you are. Other people know who you are. And all these foreigners coming over here, setting up on top of you, they know exactly who you are. They know. Hopefully you don't know and we don't know. We don't care. So that's why as young men, you're going to have to learn as much as you can. Do not try to be ignorant around here at this certain, what's coming up in America now, especially after this cat Obama get out of office, you cannot afford to be a dummy. And I realize that with most of the brothers you see in front of you, you cannot afford to be dumb. Learn as much as you can. Learn about who you are. And the females. The bloodline goes through the females. I know we live in a Christian society where it say it comes through the male. Males don't give birth to children. Females do. That's one of the reasons that we lose too. We look at ourselves as no man passes through this planet without first coming through his mother. These are things that should be pumped into our head. But we're taught to disrespect our mothers. And when you do that, you know what's coming after that, right? All these foreigners can come take your stuff. Because if you disrespect their woman, guess what they're going to do to you? They're going to kill you. They don't play that. We just follow you along, dog our women out. And think you're going to have something. Well, yeah, you might. Because your mama could have aborted you. It's tough for sisters in America. That's why a lot of sisters divide themselves today, because it's easier. They don't have to take care of no kids. They can just take care of themselves and get on with their life. But the females that have children, they're very special because they didn't have to do it. Especially living in the conditions they're living in. Watch the Redskin helmet. Who is that? That's you. We are so accustomed to being black, we can't even see ourselves in the images that they show us. Who was that? I want to blow this up because this is my favorite right here. I'll just share this with you. This piece right here is called Indian. Come on, y'all. This piece right here is called Indian Warrior Entering His Wigwam with a Scalp. Can you see that? I know it's probably not big enough. I'll give it to you one more. Here.
What's the name of it again?
Indian Warrior Entering His Wigwam with a Scalp. What are you doing? Who is that? That's an African. And again, we have nothing against Africans. They getting dogged out over there probably worse than we are here. But you have to ask the question, why are all of them fleeing over here? That's one thing about us. You don't never really see us going out and fleeing and living in other places. Why are all these immigrants coming over here? Why are Africans coming over here? If Africa is the major continent, if Africa is the richest continent on the planet, why are their sons and daughters fleeing, coming to Europe and coming to America? These are some of the questions you should be asking them when you talk to them and communicating with them. Why are they leaving their country? Why are they leaving where all mankind supposedly sprang from? Why are all the children running away? When you ask those questions, the answers they give you will let you know you're not African. None of us look like Africans. Indian warrior leaving his wigwam with a scalp. Who was that brother? Now, when I show these pictures, a lot of people be like, well, their hair doesn't look like... They'll go ahead and say the picture looks like it. They can agree with the picture, but they'll say the hair. Their hair. Well, our hair isn't like that. Well, where does our hair out? What is our hair is nappy. It's not nappy. Your hair is dry. Why is your hair dry? Because you don't live in your environment. You don't live in your habitat. Other people have came in and built their habitats, and you went in there and wanted to play around in their habitat. Where's your habitat? You can't feed yourself. You can't make your own clothes now. You used to make shoes. What you doing now? These are the industries that other people came and took from you. The cotton industry was an industry that your mothers created. White people didn't bring cotton over here. This was something that you created. Now you don't make socks now. Other people come in and sell you whatever you need because because we've lost the ability to do for ourselves. And we love it. We brag how bad we are on making other people money. We brag that we work for the government. Where's your stuff? Where's your empire? How come we don't build boats? How come we don't build boats that we can put out there and fish on in these rivers and lakes?
Okay, this is an article by Indian Country TodayMediaNetwork.com. Okay, this is a picture. Look at these pictures of the native peoples. Okay, now let's get into it. Six shocking facts about slavery, natives, and African Americans. In the last week of September, the Joseph Jenkins Roberts Center at Norfolk State University held a conference called 1619, The Making of America. That year is historically significant because it was the first year Africans were brought to the colonies, and it was the year America's first legislative body was founded. In an admirable gesture to honor all of the cultural relations happening in the Americas in 1619, NSU hosted several Native speakers and those familiar with Native history to address many issues not often covered in today's classrooms. During these sessions, many little known facts about African Americans, Native Americans, and slavery were addressed in the years following 1619. The term Negro may have been meant for American Indians. During the session, Native Americans at 1619, Dr. Arika Coleman, an assistant professor at the University of Delaware, who is of Rappahannock and African American descent, discussed how the term Negro might actually be referring to an American Indian. According to her latest book, That the Blood Stay Pure, the term's origins can be traced to medieval Italy, where it was a classification of a skin color, not race. Additionally, Europeans often refer to indigenous populations of their communities as Negroes. In the Portuguese colony of Brazil, Indians were called Negros da Terra, meaning Negroes of the land. Now, let's think about this. The Native American people, they were enslaved. They were enslaved first, and they were shipped to Europe and Africa. I don't think it says that in this article because I didn't read the rest of the article, but I know that I have read that in other publications. But it's quite interesting that you will see here that the Native American people were called Negroes by the Europeans. And then they had also referred to the Africans that they brought over to America as Negroes. And you know what the funny part is? Is that they call the African Americans Negroes, or we used to be called Negroes. Very interesting. So wouldn't it be rather easy for them to erase your history, erase your lineage, try to erase your lineage or where you come from by misclassifying you as Negro? When they classified the Native Americans and the Africans as Negroes, what they did was they had denationalized these two groups of people. And that's what I want you to see.